Okay, my friends, here it is, the video that is going to show you another way to utilize the beautiful bounty of nature, which is the autumn leaves. Now, this method is ideal for fertilizing the beds that you already have for next year, and also it's actually the ideal method for starting a new no-till garden bed for the springtime. So I call it the secret method of the masters because not everyone is going to agree with this technique, but whether or not you agree with the practice does not take away from its functionality. It works really well at making the land fertile and full of life and minerals and all the good stuff. So come springtime, you will have a nice garden bed to plant directly into. So I'm going to say a few words about it, and then I will take you out in the field and I'll show you exactly what we're doing. So we are going to utilize the fall leaves and fire. Now watch the video, and then if you do not have the alternative to use the fire, I will show you at the end a way to omit that. But ideally we really want to use the fire because nature has developed a beautiful thing where the minerals that are contained within the leaves and the sticks and things of that nature, they are not affected by the fire. And so when the leaves burn or when the wood burns, the ash that is left is a really concentrated source of all the minerals that the plant actually contained, that the tissue contained. So we are going to utilize this to greatly enrich the fertility of the land. But then we're not going to stop there. We're going to add on top of it more fertility. You will see as we go along. So let us just get into it, and then once we're done with that, I will come back and tell you some of the specifics. Okay, step one is to gather as many leaves as you possibly can. The more, the better. And it doesn't really matter what type of leaf you are using, but what does matter is that they are dry, especially for this first part. You want them to be sort of crispy dry. If you crumble them in your hand, they will crumble apart like this. If you have to, you can let them dry and then rake them out a little bit, let them dry. But for this first part, we need them to be dry like this. Then we want to determine the size of the bed that we want to have next year. Or we put them on the bed that we already have for fertilization. And so here you can see our beds are going to be 6 feet wide by 75 feet long. We're going to have 2 of the beds side by side. And so we are going to take the leaves and rake them into the shape of the bed. Now, it's important that we do not have any bald spots, any spots without leaves. We want it to be about an even foot thick of nice dry leaves in the exact shape of the bed that we are going to want next year. And if you're starting a new bed, then it's important to get the edges right as well. You want it to look pretty much like this, so that it's pretty standard width and thickness and all of that. 6 feet wide, 75 feet long. Your beds can be whatever size you want them to be, but the point is to pile up 1 foot thick of leaves across the whole bed. Okay, the next step, we are going to take the dragon's breath, which is what I call this weed torch. There's a link in the description if you want to see exactly the one I'm talking about. But we are going to go on the upwind side of the leaf pile, and we're going to start the fire. So being upwind of it is going to carry the smoke away from us. It is also going to carry the fire itself across the pile. And so we are just going to start one side, and we are going to let this pile burn and burn and burn. And this is going to do a number of things. It is going to kill the grass, kill the weed seeds that are on top of the grass, and it is going to leave us with a very concentrated source of minerals, because really it's the carbon and the hydrogen and the nitrogen that are burning off. But we'll be left with calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, iron, all kinds of good stuff will be left in this ash. So we let it burn for however long it takes until what is left is this nice fluffy ash. And this is going to have all the minerals we just talked about. And so this is going to work as a wonderful soil conditioner and improvement. Because you see here, the earth has been scorched with the fire. And so that is going to take care of the grasses and all of the problematic weed seeds that usually pop up. Now the next step is very important. Now is when we are going to take water and saturate the entire bed for a number of reasons. Because we want to make sure that there's no smoldering embers, that there's no fire left, And we also want to ensure that all of the ash stays right there, because the ash, all the nutrients in the ash is very water soluble. So if it could blow away or the rain, we just want to make sure it all stays right here and that it's all quenched, so that this is what it should look like before proceeding to the next step. Now the next step is to put an additional 2 feet of leaves on top of everything. You could get away with 1 foot of leaves, yes, but 2 feet is even better. And so we're just going to rake it into the nice quenched and cooled ground. And we're going to put that again in the exact same shape that we had before, but we're just going to make sure it's a bit thicker than it was last time. So we want it to be evenly thick all the way across. Again, we don't want to see any bald spots. We don't want to see any spots that are thicker or thinner than others. So it really pays to have a nice even dispersion of the leaves. Now the part is very important, where we are going to saturate it with the JDOM microbial solution, also some of the fish fertilizer, some of the JLF. Any of the JLFs will work. If you have to empty out your barrels to winterize them, then you can drain 2/3 of them and you can put it on the leaves. So we are inoculating these leaves with any number of the different fertilizers that you've seen from this channel. So watch all those videos. And if you want to, in particular, the JDOM microbial solution. So we are going to inoculate these leaf beds with this stuff. And this is going to be forming relationships with the soil food web all winter long, and is going to give us very nice fertile land in the spring. Okay, my friends, so when the springtime comes, we do not disturb this ground. This is already going to, by springtime, the mulch, the leaves will have compacted down to be very compact, just a couple of inches. And all winter long, they're going to be feeding the earthworms, the fungi, the bacteria, all the good stuff. The whole entire soil food web will be nourished by this nice thick layer of leaves. So when it comes springtime, we're just going to scoot the leaves apart a little bit and plant directly into the actual soil underneath the leaves and just leave all of it there. And that's going to act as a totally effective weed suppressant mulch that will not enable anything else to grow up through it for the most part, and it will conserve moisture and keep the sunlight, the ultraviolet, off the soil. It's going to keep the earthworms happy. It's going to keep all the good stuff right where we want it. So if you cannot utilize the fire, then it is acceptable to simply omit the fire. Just put 2 feet of leaves and we'll let it compact down. But either method, definitely the one with the fire is going to have more minerals in it and less weeds. But either method, we don't disturb it. We just plant right into that mulch come springtime. But remember, it's important to plant in the actual soil underneath the leaf mold. All right. So guys, if you feel like you gained something from the video, give it a thumbs up. And also just leave a comment. The first thing that comes to mind, share your thoughts, and I will see you next time.